Hey sissies and buddies, welcome back to my channel. So it's dinner time again and we are back with another video. Um, Last night was the part 1 to the video that I'm going to do today. But before we get started on the topic, which the topic is love, of course, it's dinner. So tonight I have a salad, which, has lettuce, tomatoes, mushrooms, pickles, broccoli, bell peppers, onions, and then it's been the first rainy, cool day of winter in Vegas, and trust me, I was like, yay! Like, I was all about that shit. So I made some brain freeze. I made some chicken and dumplings. So I'll describe to you how I made that, and then in addition to that, I baked bread. So the chicken and dumplings is in a bread bowl. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but the chicken and dumplings is in a bread bowl. So we'll go over that and everything. But yay. So let's start. Chicken and dumplings. It's a very traditional kind of meal. And for me, chicken and dumplings like screams winter and cool air and, everything like that. So how I make my chicken and dumplings. I like dark meat, so I use chicken thighs. And I just put my chicken thighs in a crock pot. And again, we talked about that powdered chicken seasoning, so I put that in there and let that boil down with some garlic with the chicken for a while. And then after the chicken starts to loosen up, I throw in some carrots and some onions and potatoes. It's really delicious. Now dumplings, a lot of people use biscuits. I make my dumplings from scratch, but it's really nothing wrong with making your dumplings out of biscuits. But me, I just get a little flour, cold butter. Like, that's the key. Cold butter from the refrigerator. You put the cold butter in the flour, sprinkle a little bit of salt on there, and then just crumble it up. And so the butter is everywhere. It's like crumbly and all through the dough. And then you pour cold water on it and then mold it into a ball and then just make your dumplings out of it. Now me, I like my dumplings flat. I'm trying to see if I can find one. Like, because I put potatoes in here, I want to tell the difference between a potato and a dumpling. So I make my dumplings flat, but some people roll them. Like, it's really up to you. As far as making bread from scratch, people think it's a big feat to make bread from scratch, but really, it's not. There's only a couple of ingredients. Like, for this bread bowl, I got some butter right here and with a little bit of garlic in it. So for these bread bowls that I made, it's like 3.5 cups of flour. For me, the way I like my bread to rise, for every cup of flour, I put 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. Now, powdered yeast. You put your yeast in warm water, let it activate. Put that inside of the flour with some salt and sugar. That's it. Very few ingredients. Homemade bread. It's just a process with it. So once you roll it into a dough and you knead it and it starts getting soft, You sit it somewhere in a warm place for like 35-45 minutes, and then it'll rise. And for me, that's my favorite part, because you have this small ball of dough, and then it fills up the whole bowl. And childish, whatever. I like to punch it. So when you punch it, it goes down, and then you knead it a second time. And for these bread bowls, I cut it into small cut it into small pieces after I knead it some more. Cut it into small pieces, roll it, slice the top so it'll have room to breathe, and then let it rise for another hour, 45 minutes, and then you bake it. You got bread. And you just carve the middle out of it, stuff it with your soup or whatever you're going to use it with, and now you have a bread bowl with your soup. To me, very delicious. So I thought soup and salad. I have the bread bowl, I have the chicken and dumplings. I thought, well, I'll just make me a little salad on the side. So I just make a little basic salad. Told you about what's in the salad, and I like my plain old Italian dressing. Like, I don't do too much with salad dressings. I like ranch sometimes, but for the most part, it's some sort of vinaigrette. I like vinegar. That's just me. So the salads with the vinaigrette. Now, that's good. So our video got cut off last night, and right in the middle, I was talking about love. If I remember correctly, I was saying something about preconceived notions when it comes to love. I'm super low tech over here, so once the video cut off, I was like panicking. I had to figure out how to fix it, and I couldn't. So part 1, part 2. Okay. So preconceived notions when it comes to love. I think the way we love honestly stems from the way we were loved as children. I love salad. I got this spring blend, and then just put some toppings on it, but I just love salad. So a lot of times when you're not receiving the type of love what you think you need as a child, it's a defense mechanism, but you latch on to other things that make you feel love. So for me, it was TV. Like, my water. TV was my escape from regular life. But I wasn't like watching cartoons and things like that. It was always something, different or obscure. So I remember my first real crush in life was Jack Tripper. Three's Company. Hello. Again, talking about how old I am, but I remember Jack Tripper, and he was just funny, and he was attractive, and he had that hair, and he wanted to be a chef, so that's what inspired me to want to cook. Like, it was everything about Jack Tripper that I loved in life. In my adult life, I realized that sitcom was racy as shit, but while I was a kid, I really felt like Jack Tripper was like the perfect guy. And then moving forward in life, um, I saw Shaka Zulu, and in that moment, like I felt love, like seeing Shaka Zulu and how powerful he was, where he came through. He went through his whole, youth and like prevailed, and then he was strong, and then he took over, and people loved him. I was like, ooh, I love Shaka Zulu, right? So I realize now that I'm older that, of course it's history. So history is interpreted by the teller. We don't really know what type of person Shaka Zulu was in real life, but like seeing him, and he was great and he was powerful and he loved, but he was kind of like untouchable. So, in search of all these relationships, that I had in my life, I was always kind of loving these people that loved me, but, wouldn't let me in. And I was always striving to try to get through that door. I realized those people had just as much pain as I did. But they weren't dealing with either. All they were doing was shutting the door. Whereas my door was low-key wide open, and I was letting the wrong people in and trying to love the wrong people despite themselves. A lot of times people won't let you love them if they don't love themselves. So you find yourself, as old as I am in life, thinking about these people and where they are, and no animosity towards them, but geez, like, how did you learn to love? Because I figured out how to love. And it was first starting with loving myself. And I know that's super cliche. Like, everybody says that, oh, well, love yourself. But I got past my insecurities. Oh, you're a little too chubby. Like, you're weird. You're a grown woman that likes teddy bears. Like, I got past all my insecurities and started to focus on the things that were good about me. How and how I love, and how I love myself, and how I love my children, and how I love my family. And a lot of times when we're trying to search for love, like we find people and try to mold them into what our idea of love is, when really everybody loves differently. So like somebody that has been in my life for quite some time right now, like I realized last year that from the outside looking in, this person is cold-hearted. Like, they don't let anybody close to them. They don't talk to them. People, they don't have friends. In a sense, they're low-key judgmental. Like, there's a lot of things from the outside looking in on this person that makes you feel like, ooh, why? You know what I'm saying? But when you look past all of that and look into a person, then like if a person texts you and says, I know you had something to do today and you're driving, do you feel okay? Are you calm? Do you need me to call you? Like, that's how that person says they love you. Like, they may not be like, ooh, Because a lot of times us as littles, like, we need that cuddles, we need that hugs, we need that holding, we need somebody to reinforce us. And this person is not that way. Like, they say I love you in subtle ways. Like, you're driving, are you okay? Do you need someone to talk to? Like, that's their way of saying they love you. So what I was getting at is that you have to look past your preconceived notions of what love is and look at how people love. Everybody loves differently. Just because I love a different way does not make your way wrong. And I think that's where people fall apart at. It's because I see love my way, but I'm not looking at love the way you may love. So now, in my mind, you're not loving me correctly, or you're not loving me the way I want to be loved. But really, you have to look past all of that and see how that person loves and how that person is influencing you with their love. Now, that's not to say that if somebody is not showing you the type of love that you need, that you should accept that, because no, you should really get the kind of love that makes you feel good inside, but don't try to change people into loving the way that you love, is what I'm saying. The bottom line is, like, take the time to get to know yourself, but at the same time, be open-minded enough to let people be who they are. Like, any relationship, be it power exchange or regular relationship, like, the people that are involved in that relationship have to be able to be themselves and be comfortable being themselves, and then provide, equal parts of whatever it is they bring to the relationship. The other part of that is that you can't let past hurts dictate how you treat the new people. Like, listen, I have been through a lot in my life. And people even tell me, like, all the crap that you've been through, I don't see how you can be so optimistic. Because I realized that it wasn't everybody else, it was the choices that I was making. People are just going to be who they are. People are just going to do the things that you allow them to do. Even myself. I find myself being a certain type of way with certain people, and then, another way with other people. I think it's just human nature. Like, it's not that you intentionally take advantage of people, but it is a conscious decision to do the right thing. So you have to be on your game. You have to be in that space to where you are going to cause no harm. And most people don't think about that on a daily basis. They just think about getting through this day to the next. But for me, I have to make a conscious decision that I'm going to do no harm, because listen, as open as I am and as willing as I am to accept people, I'm also Scorpio, so I can be super savage. Like, that part of me I'm not proud of, but it is who I am. You know what I mean? So when a situation comes up where I can see and I can sense, I say, listen. I tell myself this all the time. You got to relax. You have got to relax. Do no harm. If you start your day every day with do no harm, then the universe will provide those paths for you. You know, nobody's saying that you have to be a saint or you have to believe in a certain thing or this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, it comes down to do no harm. And if you can live by that, then your friendships will be great. Your relationships will be great. The things that come out of your mouth, because listen, I'm notorious for saying the worst shit, especially if I feel like I'm backed in a corner. The first thing that's going to pop is my mouth. And something savage is probably gonna fly out of there. You know what I'm saying? I even have to check myself with my kids, because if my feelings are hurt or if I feel backed in a corner, I'm just gonna lash. It has to be a conscious decision to do better and be better. At this stage of my life, I just want to do better. I just want to be better. The salad is good. Hold on. Again, I apologize. I don't know what it is about eating that makes my sinuses go crazy, but it is what it is. So, the hardest part for me was coming up to this point was when I was in a situation and I'm not necessarily getting what it is that I need. It was hard to vocalize that, because on some levels I'm kind of a marshmallow. Like, I don't want to hurt people's feelings. So, somebody may be doing something or partaking in something that I don't agree with, and instead of standing my ground, I would just kind of clam up. And then I got to the point where climbing up made me resentful, so I was like that person though, oh, I feel some type of way, I'm gonna cut you off. And I was super comfortable in that for quite some time. Like, somebody make me feel some type of way, I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna talk to you, I'm not gonna call you, you're not welcome at my house. Like, you know, none of that. Like, I'm over it. But now I feel like, you know what I'm saying, if you're going to have people in your life, you're going to have to accept them for who they are. Now, that's not to say that if you feel some type of way about something that's not within your realm of normal, absolutely, cut those people off. I don't believe in habitual negativity. Like, if you are bringing all the negativity and every time you come around, like, it's a cloud following you, I know you lying. You have got to go because I don't need that in my life. But on the other side of that, if you're going to have somebody in your life, you have to accept them for exactly who they are, like weigh the faults. Does this person's faults outweigh their good? And are you willing to put up with or adjust to this person's faults in order to have them in your life? No, those are questions you have to ask yourself. So as I get older, it's harder to get in than it is for you to get cut off. Like, quality. I'm looking for quality at the gate. Like, it's not going to be no whole bunch of chances. Like, I'm looking for quality at the gate. Initial conversations is going to have me deciding whether or not you can get through the wall into the castle. That way you ain't got to cut people off. You getting them through that castle door, you're weeding them out. Vetting is very important. You ask people bold questions like, I have been known, like somebody like, somebody like trying to get to know me and, oh, you're so pretty and I like you and this, that, and the other. And, I'm like, oh, thank you, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I went to so-and-so high school. And, you asking all those questions about getting to know people. And then I would just shoot a random question to have somebody shook. Like, oh, so have you ever slapped a bitch? And they like, yeah, because I've been with too many people that think it's okay to hit people. So you catch them off guard, and then their initial reaction is like, who? And then you can tell if those are the people that you need around. So, how many domestic violence cases have you ever had in your life? You know what I mean? Like, things like that. Have you ever had a physical altercation with one of your mates? Like, these are questions that I ask because people aren't expecting that. They want to know, how your last relationship went, and everybody can sugarcoat that because you have to read between the lines. Oh, I was too busy and my life this and my life that. Okay, at that time you weren't looking for a commitment, because if that person struck in you, a commitment, somebody is going to make the time to do what they have to do. So you have to ask the appropriate questions, not just, the fluff questions. Like, catch somebody off guard. Ask them something they're not expecting to hear. Now, don't get me wrong. That has gotten me, like, hung up on and blocked and, like, all types of things. But, again, in that sense, I know these are not the people that I need to deal with because they can't deal with their own truth. If you can't deal with your own truth, you are absolutely no good for me. Boom. Accept your truth. Know your truth. Know who you are in life. Know what you want. Know what you're willing to accept and what you are not. Period. And you will be happier for it. I just love mushrooms. Look at that. Oh. Oh my gosh, I'm so full. I have so much food left too. But I guess that concludes the second part of this video. Like, I guess all I want to convey is that don't let your preconceived notions determine that somebody does not love you. Because maybe they're loving you their way. And that's why communication is important, because you can tell them you're loving me your way, but this may be something that I need. And then if they're willing to compromise, then, communication. Um, and I guess the other thing that I want to I want people to take away from this is self-love is invaluable. Like, you really don't need anybody else to validate you. Like, if you take the time to get to know yourself and build with you, then you're going to definitely be a better a better half of something else. Like, you can't be a better half of something else if you're not whole yourself. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you for tuning in. I know I rambled a lot tonight, but I want to say thank you for tuning in. And we'll have more of these discussions in time to come. And if you like what you hear, you know what I'm saying, like, subscribe, share these videos, ring that bell so you can catch my new videos when they come out. We are trying to build this little army, and because we as littles are so sensitive, like, we need to come together and build a better us so that we can be better parts of something else. So, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Little Army. Woo, woo, woo. Good night, all.